The real John Wick can't return in John Wick 5, even if Keanu Reeves' character comes back from the dead. After John Wick died in John Wick Chapter 4, there has been rampant speculation that John faked his death, paving the way for more sequels. Despite no official confirmation one way or the other, the upcoming release of the spin-off movie Ballerina has not quite quieted any of the chatter. The franchise has grossed over $1 billion at the box office, as each new movie has grossed more than the previous entry. The popularity of the franchise will only grow, making it feel like it's more of a question of when, not if, John Wick 5 will be made. Throughout all 4 John Wick movies, Wick is seen fighting his way through hordes of bad guys, yearning for revenge and freedom. After all of the violence, his story arc gets a satisfying conclusion in John Wick Chapter 4. If he was to come back in a possible John Wick 5, it must be done for the right reasons, or that ending would feel cheaper and less impactful. However, the real John Wick is only shown a few times, and it's for the best that he stays dead. The real John Wick, and when we see him in the franchise. After watching him run around the globe and chase down high-table members in the John Wick franchise, it's easy to forget that at his core, John Wick is a hired gun. In the first movie, he's out for revenge, but in the second, Santino D'Antonio cashes in a debt Wick owes him, hiring him to kill his sister. Through that act, Wick becomes a hired gun again, showing the real John Wick along the way, as somebody who worked with him on his last mission. D'Antonio adds a level of knowledge of Wick's abilities to the task, pushing the action further than the original film. After making it personal in the original, Wick becoming a hired gun again set the stage for Parabellum and Chapter 4 to be about Wick on the run and searching for freedom. That means that the real John Wick was never shown again, as he was back onto personal missions. His only appearance being in John Wick 2 is telling for his franchise future. Never being featured outside the sequel shows that John is moving past that part in his life, leaving it behind as he becomes a freed man. John Wick 5 bringing back this version of the character wouldn't make sense. After besting the Marquis in a duel and winning his freedom from the high table, having Wick become a hitman again would ruin his ending. One of his main motivations was to gain the freedom and find peace, something he seemed to have gotten at the end of John Wick Chapter 4. While watching the sunrise, Wick asks to be taken home and seemingly dies while on the steps. If his death were faked, the franchise may struggle to explain why he would return to fighting after seeing how much it took to get his ultimate desire. Ballerina's upcoming release shows that the franchise has faith in characters outside of Wick, and they have a catalog of others they can utilize. After finally leaving everything behind, it would make little sense for Wick to revert to his past behavior. With that sign of him in the past, Wick is free to move forward in life with as many dogs as he wants. Ballerina's upcoming release shows that the franchise has faith in characters outside of Wick, and they have a catalog of others they can utilize. The John Wick Chapter 4 post-credits scene sets up a possible John Wick spin-off, focusing on Kane, while other characters like Winston or the mysterious High Table could get prequels to add richer backstories. How John Wick 5 can bring back Keanu Reeves' character. If John Wick 5 happens, Keanu Reeves will have to love the script, and the only way to do that is to give the character a perfect ending. Whether it be the High Table being destroyed or Wick dying for real, Reeves won't sign off on it without it making sense. A mentor-style role feels disingenuous to the character, as he would only be drawn back in by something he can't refuse or a former ally calling in a favor. However, they could choose to keep his character dead and move forward by going backwards. A prequel chronicling John's last mission would be a great way for the franchise to provide more backstory to the character. This seemingly impossible task builds his reputation, making him more intimidating on screen. Flashbacks of old missions with previous characters would also be a good way to keep Reeves' character in the mix for John Wick 5, as he could have a lesser role and allow other characters to take center stage. By keeping him in the fold, more stories can be shown without the toll on Reeves' body, much like Ballerina is doing.